Hey guys, Austin here, and today I'd like to talk to you about something that I think is all too often misunderstood by people that don't have personal experience or firsthand experience with opiate addiction. And I'd just like to pose a question, do opiate addicts use to get high or do they use to not get sick? And non-opiate addicts, I hope this will help them understand kind of the inner workings of addiction, why it makes people do the crazy things they do once they become addicted. And I'm sure that if you are a fellow opiate addict like myself, that you will resonate with my thoughts and feelings on this subject. And I hear it all the time, everywhere I go. Uh, Non-addicts and people that don't have personal experience with the addiction talk about addicts where they just kind of write them off as junkies, and well, they do this to themselves, and why would you shoot something up or snort something up your nose and do the other crazy things that addicts do? And they often say they make the choice to do this, so whatever their fate is, they deserve it, and they had it coming to them. And in a sense, they're right to say that the addict makes a conscious decision to do this and use the drug every day. But what they don't understand is what addiction does to the brain and how opiates attach to the nerve receptors on your brain and changes everything about you, and causes you to do these crazy things. So, talking from my personal experience, when I first started taking opiates, I was just a teenager, and I was being prescribed hydrocodone or Vicodin from a doctor for pain reasons. And for a long time, I just took it as prescribed. I took it as he told me to, and I didn't really, I noticed some pain relief from it. So I thought, well, it's working, doing what it's supposed to. And over time, I would take a little bit more if I had more pain going on, and I started to notice that it seemed to make me feel better. I felt more powerful, I felt more productive, kind of gave me a boost, and so this, I would step it up and take just a little bit more every, so many months. So this was a long time frame where I was slowly ramping up the dosages that I was taking, and I started to realize that the more I took, the better I felt, and it didn't seem like there was any negative consequences coming from it. So I realized that it was very easy to manipulate my doctor and get more of the drug. And once I started to realize this was starting to become an issue and I was actually dependent on it, I tried to come off from the drug. I tried to take less of it because by that point I had heard about tapering and I'd heard about withdrawals, and I started to feel sick as I took less of it. And a couple times I tried completely cold turkey, not taking it, and I got very sick. More sick than I'd ever experienced to that point anyway. And, so that caused me to go back to the doctor and get back on it, and eventually I started taking more and more. And the thing with opiate addiction is as you take more, the tolerance builds up in your system and it's not doing what it did before. And essentially I was getting high because I was getting this euphoric feeling, but I did not look at it that way. I did not set out and intend to become a drug addict, and I'm pretty sure that most addicts never did intend to become a drug addict. Um, so this carried on and carried on, and I tried numerous times to come off from it, but it seemed the more this stuff was built up in my system, the longer I took it, the sicker I got when I stopped taking it or tried to cut the dosage levels down. And I started to realize how hard addiction was to deal with, and it didn't really progress until later on. I had another injury, so I started getting oxycodone rather than just Vicodin, and the progressive nature of this disease, it just made things get worse and worse, and to the point where eventually I was cut off by all the doctors in my area. I was red flagged. Any clinic I went to, anywhere, I could not get any narcotic, unless it was like a life-threatening injury that I was facing or a life-threatening accident or something. And I eventually turned to buying the pills off the street because I was getting sick, and by this point I found out that I was just chasing not being sick instead of chasing getting high or getting that euphoric feeling, because that feeling that I got in the beginning, I didn't get it anymore. When I would take it, I'd have to take up to a certain amount, and it would just make me feel normal. It would make me feel like I could function and get through the day, each day. And it got worse and worse because the nature of the disease is it creates a compulsion which makes you want to do more, and the more you do, the more you need to do in the future to keep yourself at that level plane. And as you progress doing that worse, it makes it even harder to come off from it, and it literally rewires your brain, and it's like you're now programmed to just get the drug, and that becomes your only objective. So all morals and ethics and anything else, they end up going right out the window, and pretty soon it snowballs and creates this monster in your life that you never thought could happen. And this is the nature of addiction, and this is why it drives people to do crazy things. And I know that a lot of people don't understand it, who don't have personal experience with it, but I think it's good to remain open-minded, and we're never going to solve this major problem that we have in our country and across the world unless we look at how to treat it instead of just writing addicts off as junkies and there's no hope for them. Well, there is hope for them, and I know that because I was able to get through it and get to where I am today. And it's been an incredible experience since I got clean. It was by far the hardest thing that I've ever faced, but it made me stronger pushing through it, and I wouldn't wish it upon anybody, but I know that it's possible to break through and break out of the cycle of drug addiction, and I know that there's hope for others out there. And I guess this is a bit of a rant because I hear it so much, people that don't understand it, talking about addicts like they know what it's like that they're going through, and when really they don't, and they may not understand how that person got to that point of being so addicted and doing the insane things that they're doing to get the drug to not get sick. But it takes an evolution of your mind and your mindset to learn how to break out of this cycle and start to progress toward getting healthier and getting clean. So that's all I've got for you today. If you found the video helpful, like and subscribe below. And until next time, stay strong, do the next right thing, and I'll see you in the next video.